All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just ran to the gas station, came back, drove around to see if we had any flooding in town here. We just had a bunch of pipes, sewer pipes, and everything ran, and water mains ran in town, and then it was paved over. So I was driving around town to see if there was any low spots where it would flood. But we're getting a lot of rain right now. As you can see, the yard is starting to flood out there. So be safe. Everything looked okay. There are a couple areas right here in town in the neighborhood that uh, do have some low areas where it is ponding a little bit. But other than that, everything is up and running. Now, my question is Elvis Fields, I believe his name was, in the Delphi case. Man, this guy looks like a couple guys, and they're not, well, they are in the Delphi case, but what happened to this guy? Where is he? And my question is there any voice uh, audio on him? But let's take a look at this video by this lady chasing true crime. And why I ask is because some of the things that Elvis supposedly said, now we don't know if that's true. This was things that he said to his family and supposedly a police officer. So let's check this video out real quick. It's a little work. Let me let me copy this, put it in my channel. I'm telling you, this dude looks like a couple people. All right, I posted it there. Let's watch this real quick. Let me turn down this.
After the murders, February 14th, 2017. Elvis came home jittery, nervous, and agitated. In his hands was a blue coat, stained with blood. He handed it to his sister, Mary Jacobs, offering a rambling, disjointed explanation. "We're kind of in a gang," he muttered. Then came something even more chilling. He told
All right. So he claims that they're kind of in a gang. What gang? And why did he say Abigail? How did he know her like that? And why was she a troublemaker? I mean, was this guy a pedo guy? I don't know. He looks like somebody before they really got messed up into the drugs and the drugs kicked in. He also looks like a guy that was out here and might still be out here. I don't know. But that was very interesting, right? Was this some kind of a gang, a war? Is a pedo crew like a gang? Well, they say they are the authorities. They stick together. Um, they share their photos, whatever, back and forth, like a gang, a club, whatever. I mean, were they at war, or was he really in some kind of a gang, a biker gang or a club or whatever, whether it be Odin's or Loki, Loki, whatever they call themselves? Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Mary he had been on a bridge with two girls, and then he singled one of them out by name. Abigail was a troublemaker. I had to give her horns. At first, Mary wasn't sure what to make of that. But as the news was breaking about the murders of Abby and Libby, a sickening realization set in. The details Elvis casually shared were too specific. Mary immediately reported what she heard to law enforcement. Law enforcement took the tip seriously enough to bring Elvis in for questioning. But when he sat down with detectives at the Rushville PD in 2018, he adamantly denied leaving town on the day of the murders. I have proof of witnesses, he insisted. But when pressed for any actual proof, he couldn't provide a single name. At that moment, investigators had no evidence to hold him, so they let him leave. But just as he was being dropped off at home, Elvis suddenly turned back around and approached the trooper's car. And his next words would never be forgotten. If my spit is found on one of the girls, but I can explain it away, would I still be in trouble? It started the morning after the murders, February 14th, 2017. Elvis came home jittery, nervous, and agitated. In his hands was a blue coat, stained with blood. He handed it to his sister, Mary Jacobs,
I'm getting a real bad feeling that there was many involved. And, if this was, 3 years after the murder and Elvis Fields said this, I would have blew it off. Why? Because there was enough time. He would have watched the case and got the information. And maybe he was messing with his sisters. Maybe his sisters didn't really like him too much, and maybe he did it deliberately because he knew his sisters would rat him out or whatever. But this was the day after. They're saying the day of the murders, he came home, or the day after, with a jacket that was blue and bloody. Well, that changes a little bit, right? Now, like I said, we don't know if they're telling the truth or not. We have no idea. We weren't there. We don't know. The only way to tell is they would have had to take lie detector tests or shoot them up with a serum, truth serum. So, do we know? Not really. Is it freaky that the day after he shows up with a blue jacket and it's all bloody and says he's kind of in a gang, or they're kind of in a gang? That's interesting because these guys all were around there. Everyone's like, well, it's a small town. Well, they all were from that area, Lafayette, Delphi. They all belonged to some crew or club or gang. Was it a war, right, or something like that? Or were certain people picking on these guys? Maybe they were a pedo ring or whatever, drugs, prostitution, kiddie porn, whatever. I mean, it's very interesting. And where did he go? Right? 15 minutes of fame? Maybe. Maybe he just wanted his fame. So they said he left town after the murders, moved out of that area. Well, where did he go? I don't know, probably outside of, depending on what kind of situation these guys are in, uh, whether they were VA vets, um, or Social Security or disability, they would have to remain in the area, I believe, so they can get their checks. Not unless you just move and leave the bank account open, uh, and draw from that bank account for wherever you move. But it's interesting, right? Why wasn't this looked into more? Because no one ever knew about this guy until what, 3, 4 years, 5 years after the murder? Probably about 5 years, 6 years is when all this came out. Maybe a little longer than that. So what is the gang or club or whatever he belonged to? And was it this pedo ring? It's very well he might have knew the killers. He might have been there. I haven't heard any voice on YouTube of this guy talking, this Elvis Fields guy talking. Well, we only got so much of the recording that they'll let us listen to. No, I knew there was more than 49 seconds, like they were saying. In the beginning of this case, there was only 49 seconds of audio and video, but that wasn't the case. There was more footage and recording that they weren't telling us about that we didn't get to hear. And we knew that there had to be more because the police claimed that the girls succumbed to death on that video. They believed the girls, it was too gory, you couldn't hear it. Remember when they first came out? Right? We're looking for this guy and everything. Here's the voice. And then they asked, there's 49 seconds of it. Well, you can't get, I mean, if the girls died within 49 seconds of the video, you can't get to where they were found from the top of that bridge in 49 seconds. And there would have been a blood trail. So we knew there had to be more video. Right? If there's only 49 seconds of video and they succumb to death on that video, he must have walked right up and did the bad deed right off the bat. Because there's no way you can get from the top of the bridge to where the girls were in 49 seconds. And there would have been a blood trail. So, like I said, we haven't heard all the recording. There's only so much they'll let us listen to. I do remember Doug Carter saying that there was numerous voices on the recording other than Abby and Libby's. Well, numerous is more than one. So where are these guys? Where's all these guys at? I don't know. Was it a war between a biker club and these Odins or whatever they are, Masons or whatever they claim they are, Lokis? I don't know. They worship the god of death or whatever, of war or whatever it is, some Viking old fable or something. Which is probably true. There is probably people that worship it, and there's a club or whatever of them, but they live in Mid Pass. Hello, RC99. So my question is why didn't we hear about all these guys? And were these guys all connected? Meaning they were a crew, right? Certain people handled the prostitution. Certain people handled the kiddie porn. Certain people handled the drugs. Certain, like a crew, right? Like a real organized thing, like the government or the mafia, the real Italian mafioso. It's possible. Do I think the mafia, the Italians, had anything to do with this? No. Like that one dude was claiming it was his dad, and his dad was mafia and connected to the syndicate. No, I don't. Everyone knows Italians don't kill little tiny girls. A couple of them did. Right? Like Bulger, I think, killed a young teen girl or whatever, some woman or something. I'm not sure about that, but she was a prostitute or something like that. But the real Italian mafia, they just don't kill two little tiny girls. Now, drugs, maybe. Cartel, it's real bad for business. Yeah, it's very interesting. What were these, you know, I mean, this is all around us. What are we living amongst? Even to say something like that, to be joking, it tells you what kind of people we are dealing with in our country. You have to be half nuts to even say something like that to the authorities. Um, or even to put yourself there as the murders were happening. And that alone, I like I said, I have a disability. Right? I'm an idiot, but I ain't that dumb. There ain't no amount of views, subs, movie things, TV stuff to put yourself there as this murder, or even around there as this was occurring, like some of these guys did, was just idiots. Now, was this a war between these idiots and the police force? Right? Because I look at this case and I'm like, we're dealing with a Zodiac, right? All these dudes are just, they're nuts. And the broads are just as nuts. The women they hang with are just as nuts. And the Zodiac did that. He would play games with the authorities, literally. And that's what I'm seeing out of it. How stupid could you be to put your DNA there? Even if it wasn't there, even if this was a story, why would you say that to a police officer? Well, you say that to a police officer, he can lock you up right there and take you in for suspicion, right? This idiot just said he spit all over the girls that we found the other day, right? Get his DNA and, something ain't making sense here with this whole thing. Who is this dude? I don't know. He looks familiar to me. Where's he at? He could be anywhere in Indiana or Michigan or Ohio, down in Tennessee. I don't know. He might have split from that area. We know a lot of them split from that area, even the Messers and the whoever else they were. They, I think a lot of them left that area, which makes sense like that when you bring heat down like that uh, on your own thing or whatever. Yeah, that's I don't know. Very crazy if you ask me. So there's something to think about in the Delphi case. How many were really involved? Were these dudes trying to draw police away from the truth because one of their brothers might have gotten in trouble? Or they knew these pedo ring dudes and they didn't want to be caught. Who knows? Did they try leading the police away from the truth with these false accusations and stuff like that? Which is very possible. Maybe someone else got in trouble and there was a connection to them, and they were like, "Hey, we need to do this." They put the word out, right? We need to divert them away from this. So I don't know. I don't know why anybody would put themselves there at a double murder of two young girls and possibly connections to the other 23 or 28 girls and kids missing down there. Uh, I don't know. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. And it's like the Brad Holder thing, right? He deliberately puts out photos and does all this stuff just to piss people off, just to bring heat down on himself and his own organization or whatever, right? I don't know. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. Right? But you'd have to be, like I said, you'd have to be pretty crazy to inject yourself in the case like that, putting yourself there uh, at the scene of the crime, or even your phone being pinged out there. I was there. Look at my phone pinged. I was right here. I don't know. Maybe it was a sub thing, a view thing, clickbait or whatever. Maybe they were being paid. Who knows? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's my thoughts on this. Yeah, a lot. I have a feeling more than one person knew about this whole thing, or one person knew and spread the word to the other ones. We're having trouble with one of these women or whatever, and they're gonna bring down all of us. She's got to go, or one of them, or both of them had to go. Whatever, I don't know. Or the other thing, there was a war going on down there between these gangs or organizations, and the girls are the ones that suffered from it. That may be. All right, you ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Once again, make sure you check out this lady's channel. It's Chasing True Crime, I believe. Uh, Good channel. I put her channel in the chat and description. It's a lot smaller gangs, tied to big organizations connected to meth, scams, human trafficking. Yeah, yeah, I imagine so. Pedo photos and all that, videos, and all kinds of stuff, probably. But I don't know. It seems pretty weird to me that these people would place themselves there. And the only reason they would try and divert like that is they were protecting something or someone. I mean, could it have been a dash for the 300,000 that was reward supposedly? They just caused a feeding frenzy. They knew who it was all along because they were tipped off from the government. Stolen photos and all that. They all said they knew police, and yeah, like I said, they weren't going to let that 300,000 just walk out of Delphi, probably, or any of these YouTubers' hands. I don't know. You folks have a great day. God bless. Keep an eye on your weather. We got tornadoes, snow, ice. We're right on the border. We can get a little bit of everything they're saying. God bless. You folks have a great day. Talk to you later.